Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up and Chat. My name is BJ Mathews, aka B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page of Pull Up Basketball Podcast, as well as Spotify, Iheartradio, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Follow me on my Instagram, BJizzle, Follow my co-host Instagram, RickMasters23. You know what I'm saying? Hit that notification bell on the top of the screen on our YouTube page to get all of our updated content as we keep going. Like, share, subscribe. Let's get it popping. Oh man, Battle of LA continues, but a little bit more personal. Um, I wanted to be very, very meticulous before I even make this video because there's a lot of different emotions in this video because it's pertaining to two people that actually have been with the Laker franchise and now with the Clipper franchise for decades. So this is pretty much family business we're talking about. So I wanted to be very, very careful about how I made this video because you had all these YouTubers talking about this situation right away. You know, everybody wants to be first instead of be correct. So I took my time. And, you know, me living out here in California, I know these two franchises pretty well. Kobe Bryant was my favorite player of all time. I love Kobe. That was my guy. And Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player right now. So I have a little bit, well, a lot of experience dating back, you know, from 15, 20 years ago with these two franchises. So let's take some time and, you know, then we'll get it going. You know, when people say, you know, you get two lions in the den, like something's going to happen. You get two lions in the den, they're not going to hug. They're going to fight it out. Something's going to happen. That's what you have here with this situation between the Lakers and the Clippers, and as well as Jerry West and Jeanie Buss. It's war right now between these two. There's not going to be a kumbaya right now. I hope they do. You know, I hope they do get whatever they did resolved, but it's not going to be right now because they're looking to, you know, see who's going to be on top. Now, Jerry West was in an article talking about the Lakers, pretty much saying that the relationship has pretty much went horrible, and there's nothing that they can do to have no reconciliation. So you guys gotta remember Jerry West, who he is. He's the logo of the NBA. He was a longtime Laker player, won him a championship, took him to the finals 10 times. So this is a top 5 to 7 Laker of all time. So he's done a lot for this team. Brought, you know, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal to the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Recruited them, got them 3 championships, 3 P, stuff like that. So this was a very, very predominant player and executive in Laker franchise history, and he should be respected, right? But I also like to listen to both sides of the situation to see why certain people do what they do. So Jeanie Buss, basically, who is owner of the Lakers right now, historic Lakers, texted Jerry West's wife pretty much in a long message saying that his tickets have been revoked. His lifelong tickets have been revoked from the Lakers arena. Now, Jerry West is with the Clippers. He is an executive with the Clippers. So at this point, it's kind of weird to have a guy still support the Lakers while working with the Clippers. And I feel like that's what, you know, a lot of Laker people and fans feel like. It's like, how can you still be? It's like you're friends with the enemy. You know, out here in LA, you know, the Lakers and Clippers are very, very, it's a heated rivalry. It's like the Bloods and Crips out here. So it's very heated out here. Um, so we ain't gonna be friends. Ain't gonna be none of that, right? Um, so he basically was, you know, hurt that by, you know, them revoking his tickets, but he also was hurt more so that nobody called him. You actually messaged his wife. If you're gonna revoke my tickets, why not just call me or message me? We have this relationship, this family relationship. I've been with y'all for 25, 30 years plus, and I've been with this organization. The least you can do is call me. So that didn't happen. So he felt like, you know, they don't have no class over in the Laker organization. So there's no reconciliation right now. Um, so I did check out this one YouTube video by this guy named Dan, the Laker fan. I think that's his name. I want to make sure I'm correct. He talked about this. He talked about this issue about 5 or 10 minutes on his YouTube channel. And he spoke about why, you know, he feels like Jerry West is somewhat in the wrong because the way it went is that people in the Laker organization, he felt like Jerry West trashed them a couple years ago. You guys gotta remember what happened a couple years ago. All-star or superstar forward Kawhi Leonard, who's now with the LA Clippers, had a decision to make if he was going to join the Clippers, the Lakers, or return back to the Toronto Raptors, a team that he just won a championship with. Now, what the reports, a lot of media pundits out there were saying that the Lakers had the upper hand, pretty much saying that they got the better overall team with LeBron, Anthony Davis there. Magic Johnson was still an executive of that team at the time. The Lakers are a historic franchise. Like, He had a chance to come back home to LA. So everybody had LA Lakers as a team for Kawhi Leonard to go to, right? Now, of course, that didn't happen. He ended up choosing the Clippers. Not only did he end up choosing the Clippers, he ended up bringing another superstar with him, or all-star in Paul George, to team with him. And that was kind of the deal breaker right there, because my opinion, this is my opinion, I don't feel like Kawhi Leonard was ever going to sign with the Lakers. I feel like Kawhi Leonard always had his mindset with the Clippers because of the direction they were moving up. And all he needed was another player to come with him, because at that time the Clippers were still an upcoming team. They just faced the Golden State Warriors. They took them to 6 games, so they had a lot of promise with that team, a lot of grit and grind. So the Lakers weren't able to get Kawhi Leonard, right? And in an audio, though, this is what I feel Jeanie Buss feels very strongly about. She was like basically saying in an audio that Jerry West pretty much trashed his team, trashed the Lakers by saying, like, they were a bad franchise at the time. Like why would Kawhi Leonard go to that team? While he will not be the best, he will be the best player, but he won't be the guy. He won't be the face of the team. They have a lot of chaos going over with the Lakers. So why would he choose that S show? We're not going, you're going to bleep the cussing out. But why would he choose that S show? Why would he choose that team that's not moving in any direction? So we got to be very, very transparent of what we're saying. If Jerry West, he did say that, we got to be honest. The Lakers, for the last 4 or 5 year stretch between 2014 and 2018, didn't even make the playoffs. I remember that. It was painful to watch my boy Kobe go out the way he did, except the last season, the last game of the season. The Lakers were a bad thing to watch. There was a time that you probably couldn't name the starting five for the Lakers, and that has never happened in Laker history. They've always been consistently great from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, early 2010s. They've always been consistent. So this was a very, very weird time in Laker Nation from 14 to 18 for them to just be non-relevant. So when Jerry West said what he said, it was the truth. He said it in a private phone call. It was the truth. Like, this team was a bad deal. Like, the organization was one crappy. After Jim Buss died, you had, his kids running his organization was running it straight to the ground. So they weren't a team of excellence. So what he said was true. What Jerry West said was true. The Lakers were a bad team. Now, is that a reason why Kawhi Leonard signed with the Clippers over the Lakers? Absolutely not, in my opinion, because if you remember, I think, again, Kawhi Leonard goes by his beat of his own drum. He doesn't let anybody influence him. So what Jerry West said about the Lakers did not influence Kawhi Leonard's decision. Kawhi Leonard was looking at this team before Jerry West even said that. Kawhi Leonard's a smart dude. He's seen the dysfunction with that team. He's seen that all the drama with that team. He won no parts of it. He even said in his media day press conference when he joined the Clippers with Paul George, if y'all go back and remember, he said that the Clippers have been better than the Lakers, have been better than the Lakers, and they have. Since about 2013, they've had a 29-7 head-to-head record against the Lakers. They have a better owner. They're about to get a new arena in a couple of years in Inglewood. The Clippers also have a better young core, as you guys are seeing right now. The Lakers are not better than the Clippers because the Lakers they're trying to build a championship off of superstar talent and not pieces, while the Clippers, they're able to stay afloat and actually develop players while they're actually ahead, and they're also able to stay afloat without their two best players in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So Clippers have been better than the Lakers. I don't know if that's not breaking news, and I'll tell that to any Laker fan here. Like, they've been, and I feel like if Laker fans were honest, they would say to themselves, yes, the Clippers have been better. And by this guy, Dan the Laker fan, what he was saying, there was obviously disdain for the Lakers. He even said it himself in his video, he can't stand that franchise. So I don't think that I think Jeanie Buss is frustrated that the Clippers are a threat to the Lakers. And they are a threat, because my thing is, if you're mad about him saying what he said 2 or 3 years ago, why didn't you revoke his tickets then? Why did it take you 2 or 3 years to say what you said? Well, it's because of how frustrated this team is. The Lakers are not leading up to expectations. They've been bad all season. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to revoke your tickets 2 or 3 seasons later. It doesn't make sense to me. I think that, again, like Jerry West said, they are being petty. I think right now they are mad and upset that the Clippers are better, because there was a point in time the Lakers didn't give a damn about the Clippers whatsoever. This could have been in the 2000s. If Jerry West said what he said, I guarantee you that they wouldn't even care, because the Lakers were a winning franchise. But when you have a person or a team who is better than you after you've been in the shadows of them for years, and they challenge you and actually are better than you, your true colors start coming out, and the Lakers and Clippers will never be friends. But you guys also got to remember too, everywhere that Jerry West has been, their team has turned to gold. The Lakers, he got the three-peat with Kobe and Shaq. He goes to Memphis, makes them a playoff team. He goes to the Golden State Warriors, and they become a team that's in the mid 2010s, a dominant team under Jerry West's uh, direction. He chooses to go to the Clippers in 2017, and then he turns that team around to a playoff team. Even though they were a playoff team with Lob City, you can see the growth with this team now with Jerry West. You're able to bring Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Like, so everywhere this team goes, everywhere this man goes, there's always some type of growth. So we have to be honest about this. I think the Lakers are upset that the Clippers are better. It didn't matter if it was behind closed doors or not. The Lakers have not been of class pretty much ever since Jim Buss has died. And that's just the truth. So if you ain't going to show me no class, why in the world would I show you class back? I'm going to expose you. I'm going to tell you about who you really are. And I think that's what Jerry West did in that article. He said he'll always have love for the Lakers and that organization. He's always going to be a Laker. But as far as certain people in there, and I think he's related to Rob Pelinka as one of them and maybe a few other, figures, he just doesn't feel like that the franchise that he gave everything to has run it to the ground. The Lakers are going to be in a drought after LeBron James leaves. Watch. After LeBron James leaves this team, the Lakers are going to be in a big drought, just like they were a few years ago. So that's my thoughts. You guys tell me your thoughts. Am I wrong? Do you guys feel like Jerry West is in the wrong? Do you feel like Jeanie Buss is in the wrong and she has a point? Do you feel like I'm right in my search? Just tell me what y'all think. I respect everybody's opinion. Pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull out. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.